So, found it online. It's a bit of a shorter one, but we'll discuss it anyway and take some points from it. So, this guy has written, he said, Goten gets the short end of the stick, not just by Toei or Toriyama, but the Dragon Ball Z fandom too. It's always Gohan, Gohan, Gohan. Pretty much everyone forgets about Goku's other son, and you can't even find a lot of Goten videos online talking about him. He is the forgotten son of the family. And that's it. That's the take. What do you think about that? Is Goten the forgotten son?
No, I just think he's young. Literally, like the new film's kind of demonstrating that. Like, basically, Goten gets Gotenks. Like they they
It
get to
does.
step into the one of the brand new abilities that's introduced to the show in Z. Like they're the ones that get it first.
Just to counter
Um,
that point straight away, though, can you argue that that is both Goten and Trunks kind of just being pushed together? Goten doesn't get a chance on his own.
I think you would have to do it. Like it is fusion. It's what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
for that particular character of Gotenks, but Goten as a character, he doesn't get anything on his own at all, really.
I mean, you also have to think by this point, you had Gohan as around this time in the show. He's an adult.
Hmm.
It's very very easy to make a teenager and then a adult character development before wait give them character development. Then it is essentially a toddler.
Hmm.
Now, I know Gohan was a kid when it started with him, but it's very difficult to basically do the exact same thing twice.
That's true.
If
That
you
is
make him
true.
if you make him a prodigy twice, you're recycling the exact same content.
Yeah, because
So you have to be very careful with what you do. Now, there's no direct indication now. They said it back when that they were going to finish Z at Z,
hmm,
but now they haven't given any indication it's truly going to end. The mangas keep going.
yeah,
Now, Goten's starting to grow up. You've got superheroes coming. Goten's now entering his teenage years. There's nothing to say that now things aren't going to look towards him.
hmm,
And now that he's at an age where he's developed and now that you can focus on him, he can make his thoughts and his feelings more known. Then it's easy to express and to focus on him a lot more.
hmm,
But I think just copying the prodigy recipe is boring. It's dull,
yeah. One
and I think
thing,
it's difficult to do.
yeah, one thing I'm unsure about the manga, which I don't read, so I could be completely wrong about this. But even up to the current point in the manga, Trunks and Goten haven't aged forward yet. So does that mean Superhero, the film, is just like way, way in the? Is it even canon? Do we even know? Like the Broly one isn't fully canon yet because we haven't had any more of the show. But this should have been a topic we should have mentioned earlier in the podcast. But yeah, as far as Goten goes, um, he hasn't had a shine and standout moment, and I can agree with this guy completely. I guess I do think he is the forgotten son. You mentioned yourself that yeah, Gohan had his moments when he was a kid, and you don't want to recycle that, which I agree. You don't want to recycle, but even during like the Frieza saga, I would say Frieza saga Gohan is about the same age as Goten was for all of Z, for all of Super, I guess, probably around about the same age. Um, and in that time, during Super, especially, Goten slash Gotenks doesn't really do anything in all of Super. I don't think he has a single moment at all. So
But then
it's
again, neither does Kid Trunks.
yeah, exactly. Like both of them don't. Both of them
It,
have been
it
kind of
could
just
be.
grouped
It
together.
could simply be argued that it's because they're children and they
Yeah.
haven't fit into the arcs. Like you can't put them in the Torment of Power.
Mm.
You can't really put them in the Goku Black saga because they're going to the future.
Mm.
Yeah, and only so many people could go.
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't been forcing them into the arcs. They technically were involved in the Beerus Battle of the Gods because they turned into Gotenks
Yeah.
and got got
very
absolutely
quickly.
handed to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no place for them within the arcs
Mm.
purely because of the nature of the arcs.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind that like there was no place for Gohan within the Goku Black arc. Like
Can you argue though that I know it seems like they're just pushing Goten and Trunks together, and they're basically just one character at this point. You don't see one without the other. They're a team. They're together, and it's just expected. If one's there, the other one's there as well. But I mean, I class older future Trunks as a separate character as well. So you can't even really argue that Trunks gets his own stuff, since they are kind of separate. One's from the future, different universe timeline slash whatever. But
yeah,
Kid Trunks,
future Trunks and Kid Trunks
they're two
might as well
different.
be two different
Yeah,
people.
they are. Yeah,
You can't say like, oh, Trunks never gets his shining moment if you're talking about Kid Trunks. It's not the
but
same thing.
but Kid Trunks still gets more screen time and recognition compared to Goten, especially during Vegeta's final atonement, and that a lot of that entire arc is about Bulma and Trunks and Vegeta trying to protect them, kind of, I guess. And there's that moment where he stops Trunks from going into battle by, karate chopping his neck and paralyzing him. But yeah, Goten as a character, he doesn't have any moment like that. There's no moment with him and Goku that stands out to me. There's no moment with him and Gohan, apart from the training bit, I guess, where he shows off that he goes Super Saiyan. But even then,
Well, no, you have the introduction to Goku for the first time at the tournament. You have
yeah,
the training with, you have him throwing the rocks at Gohan, so the mini training. You have him joining Videl with Gohan training. So he does get his moments in Z, I would say.
yeah. I mean, I would
I would
say
say
that that train.
I would say he gets as many small moments within Z as Trunks.
Yeah, I'd say that Super Saiyan transformation training bit with Gohan. Yeah, that's his one main one. I wouldn't even really class him meeting Goku for the first time as a big moment, because it's not arguably. I don't think. But yeah, I can see that is definitely the Forgotten Son. Even in Super, they brought the focus back around to Gohan. Like they could have focused on Goku again, like they were doing, but they brought it back around to Gohan in a way by showing how he's grown as a family man, and how he's kind of ditched the Saiyaman stuff now. He's settling down, and then they bring him back to train again, show him off with the gi and training, and then doing all the tournament of power stuff as well. It shows a lot of progression, and then of course the fights in like the Resurrection F film against Frieza, him in the green tracksuit and all that stuff as well. Like there has been focus on Gohan again, even though he has grown up and changed. Goten, not so much. And yeah, that is
I
just
think
because he's a kid. And I can agree it is harder to fit the kids into the story, especially with everyone else aging. But then, is that the fault of Toriyama making too many kid characters? Like, he's just making more and more with, like, Bulla and Pan and, everyone
yeah,
else. There's way too many kids. So, if he's going to make that many kid characters, he needs to do something with them. Like, otherwise, what's the point?
I think the problem is that yes, I do agree that yes, Goten has been pushed ahead, but I think that's one of the main reasons because there's so many kids and the fact that they're kids and you can't recycle the child prodigy
Hmm.
because if you do that, it's not a child prodigy. It's just you just have very powerful children all the time, and it
Hmm.
takes away from it. It means that what Gohan did to Cell isn't that impressive. It's just what kids Saiyans do, so it's
Yeah.
redundant. In terms of, it also doesn't help that the entire fandom loves Gohan
Yeah.
and demand more Gohan
It's true.
continuously.
Yeah.
Like they were, it is true that whilst a lot of people do like the fact that Gohan got his own pacifist and everything like that, more people don't like it. Unfortunately, I would argue
Mm.
more people wanted him to be a fighter and more people wanted him to take over. And that's probably why superheroes has taken that direction,
Mm-hmm.
because people have been asking for it for years and years. And it's the jobs of entertainers to give the people what they want.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
people aren't asking for Goten to lead the charge.
Mm,
They want Gohan to lead the charge.
it's
So
true.
and so that just makes sense for them to do that. And if you ask for something lots and lots and lots as an entertainer, you get it. So it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point of time, Goten is the only one who hasn't had a single fight against a villain. Trunks, even if you can class future Trunks as a separate villain, I mean, as a separate character, Trunks as a whole person, he has had multiple fights with multiple villains. Gohan, of course, has, and everyone else has. Goten is the only one who hasn't. The only time he has is as Gotenks against Boo, and I guess also against Beerus, if that counts as a fight. Um, but he hasn't won a fight. Like, Goten hasn't won a single fight. So, yeah, even with this new superhero film coming out, with him being a teenager now, I still think they're going to just group Goten and Trunks together. And also, they've already pushed him aside because Pan is the focus of the kids now. So Pan is going to get the new uh, focus, not Goten. He's already, who cares about Goten? So it's like, okay, yeah, sorry, Goten. Was it just a bad idea to even have Goten as a character? As soon as he was introduced, he looked exactly like Goku. Like Gohan, when he was introduced, he didn't look like Goku. He was his own character, even as a kid. He didn't have the same hairstyle. And as he grows up throughout the show, he has 25 different hairstyles or whatever. And none of them are the signature Goku hairstyle. But Goten
I
is
mean,
exactly the
yeah,
same.
even when he's at his most powerful, every time Gohan's at his most powerful, when he goes Ultimate, when he goes Super Saiyan 2, it's the hairstyle that's right behind you, is the straight up with the flick. It's nothing like Goku's in any way, shape, or form. Whereas, yeah, Goten is exactly the same.
Is that a bad, like, is that why people don't like Goten? Because there's nothing that makes him stand out. He wears the exact same clothes as Goku. He looks like a kid Goku, but he doesn't stand out at all. There's nothing unique about him in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, I don't know if it's been mentioned in the past or if it's been confirmed as to reason why, but it was probably they just did that to throw back to Dragon Ball. People liked Dragon Ball when he was young Goku, and so that's why they made him that way, because people would appreciate it. I don't know if it's probably been confirmed in some point that was why. It wouldn't
Maybe.
surprise me. But I think this is going to be the first time that we disagree on a take, because I think every time we've agreed,
I think so.
but I don't agree with the take, purely because I just don't think it's been his time yet. I
Do you
think
really
I
think
agree
he
with
is gonna have a time?
I think I don't think he's gonna have a main focus time, but I don't think he's gonna be ignored entirely. I think there's going to be a point, like you could argue that Vegeta has never had a time because he's never really killed a big bad. Like, did you see what I mean? Because you can't just say you only get your time when you kill a big bad.
Oh
You see
no,
what I
but at
mean?
least
Like,
Vegeta's been involved in fights and done stuff.
yeah. So you could say that, like, he's going to be involved in the future because there's plenty of time for Super to evolve.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's had his time yet.
Yeah.
He's only growing up now. We're only starting to see him in his age now. So I just don't think the arcs that have happened, I don't think they're going to change the story arcs just to accommodate one character or a couple of characters.
No.
I just don't think there's been room for them. I think there's time for them to come soon, and I think that's when it'll happen.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that purely on that. However, I do agree that so far he's not had anything.
I think the worst thing they could have done was made him a clone of Kid Goku, because it's a throwback to original Dragon Ball, potentially, kind of, but also, especially modern Dragon Ball fans, 95% of people haven't watched original Dragon Ball and don't care less about it, which is a shame because the original Dragon Ball is incredible. But no one cares about that. And a lot of people did start with Z, even at the time it was originally released. And they wouldn't have,
Me, I did.
yeah, they wouldn't have realized this was a throwback. They would have just seen Mini Goku and thought, oh, okay, this is obviously Goku's son, but yeah, it's a clone of Goku. And one thing that GT did really well was make Goten look different because they show him as a teenager. He has a different hairstyle. He's going to school. He's like the ladies' man, kind of popular kid. And it's like, yeah, finally, he's got his own personal characteristics. He stands out. He looks different. But it's like in Dragon Ball Z and Super, there is nothing unique about him. And from this poster release showing him as a teenager, he's wearing different clothing, he's got a different hairstyle finally. He's going to stand out, and maybe this is the push that's needed for people to actually start liking Goten because he's going to show some personality and be different. And I'm excited to see how different he's going to be because I can imagine Trunks is probably going to be similar to future Trunks, and you're going to start seeing these similarities more now that he's a teenager. But for Goten, we don't know how he's going to be as he grows up. We only know him as this whiny kid. So anything could happen, and his personality will show and get different. But that's to be seen in the film, I guess, when that's released. But I agree with this guy, and this is the first time, like you said, that we are going to differ. He is the Forgotten Son, and he is. No one really cares about Goten. Let's be honest. Yeah,
I mean, it's true. I don't really care about Goten or Kid Trunks, but I never really have, to be honest.
yeah,
Hopefully, given time, I will. We'll see. But I don't care about Pan. So,
yeah,
like, we'll see. Give it time. I might
yeah.
after the film.
Maybe. I guess one thing in
Like,
Pan's defense is she hasn't been around as long as Goten and Kid Trunks have been, at least.
yeah.
And she's been a baby. She hasn't even said
No,
anything.
I think at the minute, I'm at the minute, I'm judging her as GT Pan, and
Right,
I'm
yeah,
hoping
okay.
she's very different
Mm,
to that character.
mm,
I'm hoping they're not just going to copy her. I hope they make her her own entity
mm,
because she was very much, she didn't really do anything. Like, she just made problems in GT.
yeah.
Like, I'm hoping she's quite useful
Mm,
in the new film. I
yeah.
would like that if she was quite strong and independent.
Mm,
I think that would be good.
yeah, I agree with that. But I guess we can probably wrap it up there. We disagree with this take. I think he is
Yep.
the Forgotten Son. You say give him some more time to kind of prove that he's not. And yeah,